Across America, you're listening to the Veterans Impact Show, featuring stories of veterans who continue the mission in their communities with honor, courage, and commitment. Brought to you by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce.
Well, what a great day, and I want to say, hey, welcome. This is Jim Blythe, U.S. Navy veteran, Vietnam. I was on aircraft carriers. We've got a really great guest today who was in the Brownwater Navy, but always my co-host, the guy who helped me found this, the guy who got me started and literally introduced me to so much.
Blame me for everything bad that's happened.
No.
And as Jim is prone to do, before we go any farther, I want to take just a minute. I want to introduce Nathaniel Smith, who was our man making everything happen behind the keyboards. I guess the keyboards, soundboards, whatever we call that. And the lovely Mrs. Diane Blythe, who keeps our Facebook going strong. You always forget to introduce them.
Well, I'll let you do that. I mean, you're the guy that was the helicopter pilot. I'm just a plain old sailor, and I got to tell you, I married way above myself.
You did. You seriously outkicked your coverage. But a Plano sailor, does that because you live in Plano? But I thought you lived in Dallas, not in Plano.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
We're doing bad jokes.
Enough of this. I want to introduce Rex King, Lieutenant Commander Rex King III, an incredible guy. I met him a few months ago at an MOAA meeting, and they got up and talked. And it was just amazing what he talked about with his background. And as we've gotten to be friends with Rex and Donna King, it's been a monumental thing because he is exactly what we're talking about of continuing the mission. Here is a Vietnam veteran, U.S. Navy retired lieutenant commander, who also is so heavily involved. He was one of the founding people with Woody Williams on the monument deal that you've been heavily involved in.
The monument deal, more specifically, Woody's Gold Star Family Monument Project, which is done through the Woody Williams Foundation. For those who don't know, and Rex knows him even better than I do, I was honored to have gotten to know him before he passed away. Woody was America's last World War II living Medal of Honor recipient, and he passed away this summer. America experienced a great loss as we are losing all of those from the greatest generation, and it's a shame because these are the men who really shaped America. But and I don't want to steal too much of Rex's thunder because he was there when they started all this, but it is a very important project to me as a military brat with lots of family that are in the military. And oddly enough, and Rex, this is going to be, we trace our military roots all the way back to the American Revolution on both sides of my family, and we do not qualify as a Gold Star family. And that just statistically seems odd to me. But Gold Star families are those who have lost a family member in the line of duty in service to our nation. And so that's kind of what that's all about. Rex, why don't we kick this off by talking about how you and Woody and some other people came about this idea of doing a Gold Star Family Project?
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me aboard. Woody, I've known Woody since the early 1980s when he came to Wichita Falls for the Iwo Jima reunions. And in the early 2000s, he was talking Mother's Day. Mother's Day was originally founded in West Virginia, and he initially talked about building a Mother's Day monument. And then it evolved from there into a Gold Star Mother's Monument. And when he was he and I talked, and others talked, his grandsons and other members of our board. Well, that wasn't a board then; it was just a group of friends. And he was giving a speech at, I think it was Philadelphia, and at the end of his speech, it was a large hotel, talking about trying to encourage interest in the Gold Star Mother program. Everyone applauded and got up and left, and he was gathering his papers and talking to the host. And then he went to leave, and there was a gentleman sitting in the auditorium, and he hadn't gotten up and left. And Woody walked over to him, and he went to introduce himself, and the guy looked up, and his eyes were watery, and he looked at Woody. He says, "Don't you understand? Fathers grieve too." And that's when the genesis of a Gold Star family monument was born. And in 2013, the foundation was organized, and I'm one of the original, they call me the Founders Advisory Board member, right under Woody. And we've been building them all over the country ever since.
I believe, Nathaniel, let's put up that website for that. There's about 72 or 73 of these. This is a beautiful monument. And the one you did in
No, we've
Frisco,
actually crossed 100. Yeah, we
have
did one in Frisco.
they're
The one
beautiful.
in Frisco is unique. And Rex, I don't know, did you come out to our dedication? Yeah, we're up to 107 now. This page is constantly changing, and you see, for our Facebook listeners, you see the front and back of the monuments. I know our radio fans can't see this, but go to the woodywilliams.org page and just peruse this page. And if you go to About, you will scroll down and you will find who we are, and you will see Rex King listed. The one thing, and Rex, you'll get a kick out of this, those who can see it will notice that the center of the monument, it's done in this beautiful black granite, is a silhouette of a serviceman saluting. So we came upon somebody in my committee, I'm not that smart, said, why don't we do a cutout, or do a granite piece that matches that cutout and have him returning the salute. And so as we were standing at the dedication, Woody said, "Hey, explain that cutout to me." I said, "Woody, that's you. That's you returning the salutes. We were the first monument that did it. I understand a couple of others want to copy it. I absolutely love it. But they are absolutely gorgeous monuments. They are very impactful and meaningful to our Gold Star families. And we hope, and Rex can talk, and I hope he does, talks more about what the vision is now. We hope they're an educational piece so that people understand. I think people can appreciate, at least once a year on Memorial Day, they appreciate the sacrifices that our military makes. For Gold Star families, every day is Memorial Day.
Absolutely, it is. And these things have become extremely emotional when we unveil one. I remember I can't remember what city now, but this one lady came up and just threw herself on Woody, and she was crying, and she lost a son in Tet 68, and said that they recognized the vehicle pulling up in front of the house and they knew what it was. You know, you've seen him. And her husband finished packing his lunch and went to work and never shed a tear. 50 years later, they were unveiling the monument, and Woody was consoling the lady, and she said, "No, you don't understand. You see over there at the monument, that man lying down in front of it, crying his eyes out? That's my husband. He never grieved. He's now grieving the loss of our son." And it's amazing because in 247 years of the United States of America, and all the tens of thousands of monuments erected to great people, no one's ever erected a monument honoring the greatest sacrifice of all, laying down your life for our country, until Woody came along in 2013 with this vision.
That's incredible.
It's just an absolutely incredible story. I'm getting choked up right now thinking about that. We had 4 key, we had several others that got involved, with 4 key Gold Star family members. And I know some of the dedications. I know my friend Scott Hosing is in town right now to be part of Spirit of the Hero Gala, which is tonight at the Frisco Embassy Suites. He's going to go up and speak when they do the dedication in Seattle. And we talked about that, and we talked about having a political person speak. And I was like, you know what? The only 2 people I think we need to hear from are the Gold Star family members. And like I said, we had 4, and Woody. And that was, I emceed it just to kind of keep things moving and to make some sense of everything. But those are the people that do, and it was so powerful. I got to know each one of them better. 2 of them I knew beforehand. 2 of them I got to know through the project, but they're all dear friends now. And it's sorry, I'm rattling off. I'm going. Bail me out here, Jim. Bail me out.
All right. I want to say again, thank you for Woody and Rex putting this together. I'll never forget, a friend of mine with American Airlines told me about an American Airlines plane that was going back to the East Coast, and there was a family aboard that was a Gold Star family. They had lost a service member, and they were going to where the aircraft come in with the coffins. And something happened mechanically to the plane, so the plane landed in Phoenix, Arizona, and basically the pilot of the plane announced, said, would everybody please stay seated so we can allow this Gold Star family to catch another flight to get to their destination. And they were booed. And they were booed because people did not know what a Gold Star family was. And I think this is incredible. Plus, Chuck, you got me involved in going to Wreaths of America.
Wreaths Across America.
And, oh, my God, I got to interview a lady whose son, his grave is on a hill that overlooks the whole thing.
The entire,
And it's amazing.
Beautiful section of the cemetery. That's Mary Corsi Bush, who was one of the very first people I called when we decided to put this project together. And it's a
big project, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous monument.
Yeah.
That black granite, and those things must weigh a phenomenal amount.
That's one stat I don't have.
Well, and Rex, you've got more that you guys are doing. Chuck alluded to this. Besides the monuments, you're working on an educational program. Is that correct?
Scholarship program for the Gold Star children, and an educational program. And we're constantly evolving into new territory. And I want to mention too that out at the National Cemetery, Donna and I were out there during the last holiday season, and you want heartbreaking? There were young mothers out there with their children, and they were set up with small Christmas trees on the graves of their husbands, with their children out there with opening presents.
Wow.
And Donna and I were just, overwhelmed with emotion to see that, to see these young mothers, and we're talking about little children, and they were out there and with their folding chairs, their little Christmas trees, and their children, and pointing to the graves of their loved ones. And it was overwhelming.
I stood on a flight deck of an aircraft carrier more than once as we did memorial services. I lost 12 pilots in Vietnam, and I had 5 POWs as well. Yep. And I got to tell you, that was a tough deal, and you went through it. You were involved in TET. You were out. You were there in the Mekong Delta. I was out on the carriers, and Chuck, you were just in diapers, I think, when we were doing our.
See, that's why it's comments like that keep you on the Christmas list.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to take a break for our radio stations, and we'll be right back. Thank you for being on Facebook with us, and thank you so much, Rex King, and let's continue this conversation in just a minute or two. This is Jim Blythe and Chuck Wright, and you're listening to the Veterans Impact Show.
let's wait till we come off of this commercial break, and we'll start talking about what you're doing now with Valor Ranch and all the things that you guys have got going on. But let me ask you this for our Facebook Live audience. You were in the Mekong Delta. What were you doing?
Actually, I was up at the Perfume River at Way City, and I was Uber for the Marines.
That's always a good job for the Navy. We've always appreciated the Navy being our personal Uber service.
You know,
they had LERPs and others, and so they would get a hold of me. And while I was, Way City is cut bivouac by the Perfume River, and part of it was getting Marines across it, especially when the bridges are taken out. And I would take LERPs upriver and patrols upriver. It was pretty easy getting them upriver. I could sneak them up there pretty easily, and then I would, cover up the boat with foliage and wait for them. And then every now and again, you'd, when it's time for them to be picked up, you could hear them screaming on the Prick 25, "We're coming in hot!" And I'm looking at green tracers coming at me from every direction. And I go, "Yeah, I figured that out on my own. Thank you."
well, you are a Purple Heart recipient.
I call that my marksmanship award. That other sucker should have got the award, not me.
But thank God he didn't kill you. He just kind of upset your stomach.
Yeah, he really did. And so, but there was, we did our job and came home. I'm just, there was a friend of mine, Carl Kirksey, went from elementary school through high school with me, and from Wichita Falls. And they had one, the draft was hot and heavy on our heels. They were right on our six. And we went down to the recruiters, and they had one slot open in the Marines, one in the Navy. We flipped a coin. He went Marines, I went Navy.
So obviously he won the flip.
He got his eyes blowed out of his head.
Ooh.
And now we're both amateur radio operators. That's what made me a real popular guy in Vietnam. I'm the guy that did the foam patches.
Ah, yes.
And I had some really awesome people. There's a guy named Chet, Whiskey 4 certified guitar picker. My name's Chet Atkins.
He's no longer with us, but he was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, guitar picker in country music.
Oh, yeah. And another one that I stayed, we remained friends for the rest of his life, was K4ZVZ Paul Tibbets Jr. He dropped an egg on Hiroshima.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
I knew that name. I was like, I've heard that name before.
All right, we're about 30 seconds out. Facebook, thank you for being with us, and go to our YouTube channel, The Veterans Impact Show. Subscribe, join us, be a part of this, learn more about what we're doing, and then learn more about great things like the Woody Williams Monument Foundation and what they're doing.
It's actually just the Woody Williams Foundation.
Woody Williams Foundation. Yeah. All right. But they built a terrific monument. So Facebook, we're going to be going back on regular radio. This is the Veterans Impact Show.
Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show. Thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Now, let's continue this conversation.
Well, I'm just having a ball with a great friend, Rex King, and then my buddy who has just gotten me into so much trouble over the years. Without a doubt, he beat the wind into submission with helicopter blades. I often wondered about some of that because those things weren't made to fly. Nope. Chuck, it's amazing when we're talking about this because you were so heavily involved in the monument up in Frisco.
The Gold Star Family Monument up in Frisco.
You bet. And you wanted to continue the conversation regarding about where it's going now.
Yeah, and a really so we've got the privilege of having Rex King on with us. He was part of the Gold Star Family Monument program when it got started through the Woody Williams Foundation. Rex, talk a little bit about now that Woody has passed away, and I have not had a chance to talk to either Brent or Chad at any real length. I saw Brent at Carry the Load, but excuse me, I saw Chad at Carry the Load. Talk a little bit about the direction of the foundation. Some of the things they're obviously continuing to build monuments. Just because Woody has gone off to Valhalla on us doesn't mean the project has stopped by any means. But and you had mentioned in the first segment expanding into some other areas as well. So educate us a little bit about that.
Well, we're the original goal, what he set for himself, was to have a monument in all 50 states before he passed. We blew past that goal in a hurry. Heck, we even have a monument in Guam.
Very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I think we're over 100 monuments built. 73 are under construction, or more than 70 under construction right now. Oddly enough, neither Dallas or Fort Worth was interested in building a monument. And here we have two metropolitan areas, some of the largest around, and neither one were interested in building a monument to honor the sacrifice made by our service members. And that was really strange because a lot of people don't know that Dealey Plaza in Dallas was named for the commander of a submarine in World War II that was awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously, but that's okay. That's another story. But anyway, our goal is still to continue to build these monuments, because every time we build one, the outpouring of emotion, the gratification from the people in the community, the Gold Star families are so gratified that there's finally some recognition given to the sacrifice made by their loved ones. It gives us, it helps us, it encourages us to continue the mission. At the same time, we broadened our scope to include scholarships and education to help our young people, the Gold Star family children, to educate them. And quite often we have a more than abundance of young people that need education that are Gold Star children.
We, Diane and I serve with the Army Scholarship Foundation, and they work with young people, young kids that are families are veterans, not necessarily Gold Star. And then I filmed and worked with Snowball Express, which is for Gold Star children, and that's a Christmas event. Gary Sinise has taken that over. But this is very important that people remember, people know who these people are, without a doubt. And quite frankly, a lot of people don't realize, for instance, Woody Williams, recipient of the Medal of Honor, got it on Iwo Jima, probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest, of all of the battles in the Pacific during World War II. I think Okinawa was right up there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was, his first taste of battle was at Guam, and then his second, he was on the third wave at Iwo, and he was in the reserves. They didn't expect him to go ashore.
All right, it's time to take another break. We'll be right back. Facebook, stay with us. This is the Veterans Impact Show. We're bringing you the best of information about continue the mission, right, Chuck?
Charlie Mike.
Absolutely.
The motto of the show,
Yeah.
Continue the mission. And the show is dedicated to bringing you the stories of the people who are continuing that. No better example than Rex King, our friend Woody Williams, Chad Graham and Alex Newark from the foundation, Brent Casey, his other grandson, who was basically Woody's handler.
And I think what's going to be exciting is we're going to come back and talk about what you and your beautiful wife, Donna, are doing with young ladies in the rodeo world. You're helping young women grow into maturity. You're really continuing the mission.
She was in there playing. She plays the fiddle, the piano, the banjo, the mandolin, the guitar. Uh, what else?
And the radio.
And the radio.
And the
Playing on the
radio.
radio.
Well,
we like it when you're playing on the radio.
you play the strings of our hearts, right?
I play at it. I'm not very good, but I sure enough have fun.
Well, that's you also, and for Facebook, this exciting couple, Donna, you had the highest rated TV show on the Do It Yourself Network, didn't you? That was your deal? Was it Move and Flip or Texas Move and Flip?
Well, you're close, but no cigar there, Jim. It's
Okay.
Texas Flip and Move.
See, I always told Myers Jackson it was Texas Flip and Flop. Myers has become a good friend of mine. I know he was on your show. I actually met him at the dedication of the McKinney Monument. We wound up going to dinner with Woody afterwards. I wound up having a great time. And in fact, you were mentioning earlier, you mentioned Snowball Express, which is where I met Woody Williams for the first time. I can't tell you what year it was. It's probably 2015 or 2016. But I had met him as he was in for that event. So, yeah, but then I got to meet Myers Jackson, got to know Myers Jackson. Didn't realize for the longest time he was a Marine. All I thought he was an auctioneer.
I mean, you guys don't, I can tell when a Marine comes into the room, damn right, everybody stands up and salutes.
And all is right with the world.
All is right with the world. I got to tell you, one of the things,
the Marines have landed, the situation is well in hand.
the exciting thing about, I think, what you guys are doing and continuing the mission is you are really hands-on with the rodeo queens. And so when we come back on the radio side of this, we want to really dig into that, Donna, and what you have done and some of the stories of those young women and how you've helped them. I think that's an incredible story.
What about when he
My pleasure.
Woody Williams Memorial? What about that? Aren't we working that into the show?
Yeah. What? My wife is asking me questions, and I'm like distracted.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'm lost on that question too, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, because we saw his whole presentation about going to Washington.
Yeah,
DC
yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know.
I think.
Oh, yeah, why don't we do that right quick while we're still here with Facebook? Rex, talk a little bit about what it was like when you went up to Washington for Woody's funeral.
We have 1 minute.
We don't have enough time.
First,
okay.
Let's
oh,
do that.
I don't
right
have
after
time for
the
that.
break.
Okay.
Sorry,
All right,
sorry,
when we
Facebook.
come back,
We're doing the show on the fly.
My producer is being a director, which is great. I love it. I pay attention, especially when the elbow hits me in the ribs and says, "You're snoring."
Oh dear, random. Okay.
Yeah, that's totally random. A little too much information there.
Too much information.
We lost half our audience from Facebook with that remark.
And Donna, for Facebook, you have a major company in the house moving business. That's what you. We were thrilled to get a chance to go over and see your office. All right, here we go. We're back on the air.
Hit him in the elbow.
Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show. Thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Now, let's continue this conversation.
Well, you're on board with Jim Blythe and Chuck Wright, Marine, Navy. We got it made. And now we've got a great Navy guest, Lieutenant Commander Rex King. And joining us, his beautiful wife, Donna Snow King. Donna, you are so welcome to come aboard with us. It's exciting. One of the things that I wanted you to talk about, what you and Rex are doing with kids. But before that, I think my wife really wanted to hear just a little bit about you're going to the memorial and the funeral
for Woody.
and to the ship, the Herschel Woody Williams ship.
Well, first we went to the ship's commissioning. That was in a couple of years ago, 2020. It was on, the commissioning was on Ruby, that was Woody's wife who passed away. It was on her birthday, March 7th. And Donna and I were dressed for Texas. It was like in the 60s or 70s that day. We arrived in Norfolk. It was 22 degrees with a 17 wind. And all the politicians and military personnel there all had long speeches. It was really, really cool. We were on the flight deck, so it was, the wind was blowing. And you were talking about Myers earlier. Should we tell them about that?
No, sir.
No, we can't tell them about that. Anyway, we're waiting to get off. There are 27 flag officers ahead of us, and everybody's being piped off, and you know what that's like, Chuck.
Takes some
yeah.
time.
Takes a long time. Well, we were up there, and this guy calls out to me, says, "Hey, Rex, hey, how you doing?" And I turn around, and I say, "Hi, Dave, how are you?" His name's David Berger. You know who David is, Chuck?
Commandant of the Marine Corps.
Correct. I knew it. Second lieutenant.
I don't. So you have forced me to segue into a local story. Many of us know what.
We're going to run out of time, guys.
We got 30 seconds. I can watch the clock,
Okay,
unlike you.
all right.
So I'll finish this real fast. My friend Mitch Taco Bell, American Airlines pilot, tells a story at, I think it was Woody's last official function, which he zoomed in on. But Commandant Berger was Taco's recruiting officer. True story.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was like, wow, small world, small Marine Corps. So we're going to take a quick break to come back on the radio.
No,
We're
we're
not taking a
good.
break.
But the Commandant of the Marine Corps got you off the ship.
Right. He said, "You want to get off this boat?" And I said, "Yes, sir." So he goes up and he whispers something to the OOD officer of the deck. And so they said, "Commandant, United States Marines leaving, departing," and they go ring, ring, ring. And then all the side boys line up and saluting. And I said, "Lieutenant Commander King, United States Navy, departed." Ahead of all these flag officers, and Donna and I walked arm in arm.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I thought we were going to break. What were you so worried about with time?
Well, I want to really get into what Donna and Rex are doing with the young ladies, because I think that is so significant about continuing the mission. So, Donna, tell us a little bit about the Rodeo Queens.
Oh, my stars. You don't have enough time today. Trust me. No, I work with high school rodeo teams and started working with the Queens. I'm actually the chairman of the Queens Committee. And something I notice that these young women, as is in today's time, there are so many of them that they're from broken homes. They're beat down. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know where they want to go. And I felt like it was on my watch that I needed to give them an opportunity to figure out what it is they want and where they want to go. But in order to do that, they needed certain skills. I had a tire changing class for them. I come home one day and they was having a tire changing clinic out here, and one of my little girls was, she was so excited jumping up and down, and I walked over and I said, "So did you learn to change a tire?" She says, "No, ma'am, Miss Donna. I learned how to open the hood of my car."
And it's a sad statement, and Donna, I can't agree with you more and applaud you more for this program, but it is amazing how our young people, it sounds so simple to most of us, opening the hood of a car. But if you've never done it, you don't know how to do it.
You don't know how to do it.
Yep.
And we was out eating somewhere one evening after rodeo, and that's when I birthed the idea of we're going to have us an etiquette class. This just is not cutting it. I took my queens to Skyball last year, 2021, and we're sitting at the table. Everybody's in their formals. They're in what's called full formal tile. That means evening dress, belt, buckle, cowboy hat, crown, sash, boots on. And one of them looked over and said, Miss Donna. And I said, "Yes, sweetie. Thank you." I said, "For what?" And she goes, "Look down. Now I know which fork to use."
You know,
I started realizing there's so many life skills that these young ladies, for whatever reason, I'm not saying their parents didn't teach them well, but for whatever reason, they didn't have access to.
Well,
So
you mentioned a lot of these young ladies are coming from broken homes. And you're talking about a lot of times a single parent having to work two jobs just to keep a roof over the kid's head. There's just not that time
Right.
to teach this. And it is such a valuable service. And it very much, it embodies continue the mission, because when you can start when they're kids, you can make a difference. And the one thing, you may very well be going there, but the thing that keeps resonating in the back of my mind, you are not teaching them which fork to eat with. You are teaching them dignity. You are teaching them self-worth. And it is so powerful. And granted, as my son would say, I'm being a little esoteric again. I am prone to do that, but it is such a valuable skill. It's like the statistics that you read about the women who participate in athletics, and very much rodeo is considered an athletic event. It is a physical event, but it's even better in that you're learning how to take care of an animal, taking care of something. It probably can do fine on its own in the wild, but you've got it stuck in a stable, so you kind of have to look out for it. But you're learning these incredible life skills, and we can't thank you enough for doing this. Sorry, I've kind of gone off and taken us off on a tangent, but talk a little bit about the Valor Ranch and the program there, how people get in touch with it.
Well, one thing I do want to say, and I'm very proud, one of my queens is in her first tour. She joined the Navy and is now in Italy.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Naples, probably.
Queens.
These kids learn physical, mental, and moral standards. Those standards will take them through life in the civilian community as well as the military community. And these kids, we watch them. I'm just so amazed to see how these kids mature through their years in high school. And they come in so gangly and can't put one foot in front of the other. And they come out with confidence, poise. They are so much more advanced than their peers after going through this program. And the entire rodeo program that Donna's, the North Texas Rodeo Foundation is an awesome program. I mean, it's open to kids, and we invite high school kids to join it. It's an amazing program. You don't have to own a horse. You don't have to. We'll bring them in and teach them. We have clinics out here. We have an arena behind the house. Jim, you've seen it.
Oh, yeah. It's great. You got some pretty nice looking horses, too. Of course, horses and I used to have horses, but I don't get along with them because I got broken bones as a result. So I guess I'm not very good, but I never had anybody like y'all to teach me, that's for sure.
Spanking them on the road and walk up behind them.
Yeah. But I think that's so exciting what you're doing with children to be able to help them. And you're instilling values because they all know you are an ex-Navy lieutenant commander. Also, you're teaching a lot of kids radio. You're a ham radio operator, have been almost all your life.
We're both ham radio operators.
Yeah.
Okay, you may want to explain, for the baby boomer generation, most of us, we hear ham and we're not thinking about honey baked at Christmas, but you may want to explain for our younger listeners what do you say ham radio? What are you talking about?
Amateur radio operator. You have to pass a license exam, and there's 3 levels of license: technician, general, and extra. Last night I was out at the rodeo arena and I turned on my mobile radio, and there was a conversation between a gentleman in Australia, another one in New Zealand, another gentleman in England, and a young lady in New England. And these kids were all gathering around my pickup truck and listening in on this conversation. Now, this is something else. Donna has helped over 60 young people pass their amateur radio exam. And you say, well, what value is it? Well, every quarter, the National American Radio Relay League, our national club, hands out scholarships. And these kids can keep going back and earning scholarships every quarter until they get their undergraduate degree. Now, I've been an amateur radio operator since 1958. That was before Jim was born.
Not quite, but close.
You just made Jim's Christmas card list.
Yeah, thank you.
But Donna, now there's a website called QRZ.com. When you go to it, you can look up call signs. My call sign is W5EAK. And since 1958, well, they came out with the internet in the 90s. I've had a little over 34,000 people visit my QRZ page, and mostly because of Donna. Now, Donna's been an amateur radio operator a little over 3 years. 8.4 million people.
Wow.
Well, see, that tells you what it's like when you got a movie star, a TV star, in the family.
Absolutely.
W5 Snow Much Love. W5SML is her call sign. And go to QRZ.com, look up W5SML. And we try to update those from time to time with latest information about what we're doing. And again, mine's Whiskey 5 Echo Alpha Kilo. And we've met some great people along the way in our career. One of my favorite people to talk to from Vietnam was K7UGA. His name was Barry, and he was a really nice guy. You might know him, Barry Goldwater.
Oh, a little guy from Arizona.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, he was a little guy from Arizona, and he had a '63 Corvette split window with all kinds of radio behind the seat.
Oh man, love the '63 Vet.
How fun is that? How fun is that?
Yeah.
Well, Donna, let me come back to something just a second, because it occurred to me. In what you're doing with the Rodeo Queens, are you helping to maybe develop that program where it can go throughout the nation to other areas that have rodeo capabilities, that have rodeo associations?
Oh, yes. I've actually have talked to several people that I guess they were impressed with what I put together for these young ladies. And they have started incorporating it into theirs. These young women, I'm not just doing stuff with them here local. I get them involved in a lot of different areas that is outside the rodeo world as well. This past, I guess it was March, what would be our local district's school break, our spring break. I took our queens and two of my past queens, and we went to Nashville, Tennessee. We went to the Hermitage, and the president, the seventh president of the United States, President Andrew Jackson, his home, they toured it, and they stood there in awe because history became alive to them.
Yeah.
Old Hickory.
They were on the Rebecca May Lawless show at that time. Then we took them to, on the paddle boat, the General Jackson. We took them to the Grand Ole Opry. They were people everywhere is stopping these young ladies, wanting a picture and an autograph. So they're getting outside of the box, out into the real.
Isn't that fantastic? And I'd be willing to bet your rodeo queens, your girls involved, 100% of them graduate from high school and then go on to do something. That's what we found. Rex, you and I have heard that for about Sea Cadets, JROTC, all of these programs that build people up. So we're going to take a break here and then come back to finish up. Great program, great information. Again, YouTube, share this on Facebook, share it on YouTube, have people to go. And Donna, when we come back, I want to get your email address where people can send you an email or whatever, where if they want to ask you more about what you're doing with the Rodeo Queens. And we know, Rex, we've got the foundation deal. We can put that out as well, right? Where you can find out more about the monument?
Yeah. But we're still going.
Actually, I'm working on a new TV show. You may want me to wait and talk about that when you go back on.
All right, let's do that. Because you and I talked about that the other day, and you weren't ready to really dive into that. So I'll just leave that up to you. And if you want me to, just give you an intro and say, what else are you doing? You can say, with television, you can say what you're doing there. I just think that's a phenomenal idea.
I'm excited about it. This Texas Flip and Move broke all records, starting with the pilot. We broke every record. We was on for an unbelievable 13 seasons.
Wow.
Wow.
And, reality TV show does not normally last that long, but because we grew what they refer to as organic, it spread by word of mouth. People's like, man, you got to watch this show. It's something we can afford. It's something that I like that. Hey, I could even do that. And I think that's why it had such that you put the word Texas in it.
Indeed.
Basically what you guys were doing were buying houses that you would move them and then renovate them. And some of them were manufactured. Some of them were regular stick and brick you moved. What all did you move?
None of them are manufactured.
None of them are manufactured homes or mobile homes. These are full-on wood.
Sticks and bricks.
Yeah, we would. I'm actually a third-generation house mover. It started with my grandfather, C.A. Snow, in 1942. And then my dad came along and took it over in 1966. And then my brother and my sister, as we graduated high school, came into the business. So my brother and my sister, I see them 5 days a week, whether I want to or not.
Well, I really like your sister. I've never met your brother. Your sister is a great lady.
She's okay in a pinch.
Well, we went to the birthday party with her. That was fun.
Oh, man, we had a blast there, didn't we?
Yeah. Hey, is there a website or something where Texas Flip and Move, people can go and watch that program? Do you have them archived?
Well, my understanding is you can go to either YouTube, Amazon, or Netflix, and that's where you can see them and or buy them.
Oh, cool.
You know that in 145 countries in 18 languages, and it was #1 on Armed Forces Network.
Wow.
As
Impressive.
it's either 6 or 7 is just now airing in France. I have a fan club in France, and they keep me posted of all this stuff.
So do they pay you in wine?
Good. No,
All right, here we go. We're back on the radio.
Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show. Thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Now, let's continue this conversation.
Well, guys, we're about to bring this program back into the dock. That's something that Rex would probably know a lot more about than I do because he was captain of a riverboat there in Vietnam. I think that's marvelous and miraculous that you survived. And Donna, we thank you so much for what you're doing with the Rodeo Queens. Chuck, you had something else you wanted to ask them or set up about Valor Ranch?
Well, yeah, let's talk about Valor Ranch. Where is Valor Ranch, and how do our listeners reach out and find out about Valor Ranch and make donations? See how subtly I slipped that in there?
Yeah, I've seen that just smoother and snot on a doorknob.
No wonder you had the best program.
Oh, man. You can tell this is coming from Texas.
I love it. Fantastic.
I love listening to Donna, but the problem is she's got sentences she started last week she hasn't finished yet.
I interject this. I'm on, believe it or not, another project which will end up being a fundraiser for Air Power Foundation.
Oh, nice.
I had to go look at a venue. Well, the lady performing that night, her and her husband are here from Australia. She was touring. And the owners of the facility brought her down off stage when she was through. She come down there and she wanted to introduce her to me. Well, I always love meeting people, making new friends, and and we was talking, and she turns around to her husband up on stage. She says, "Listen to this girl talk. Listen to her talk." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She says, "Just say something. Say anything." Looked at the group I was with, and I said, "What she want me to do?" And Christopher says, "Just say something. Say something like you'd say on TV." And I'm like, "Okay, find her and frog hair split 3 ways." And she rolling the floor. Now she wants me to come to Australia so people can hear me talk.
Well,
Having been to Australia, in this show, the show has completely jumped the shark here, but that's okay. We're having a lot of fun. We may not have had this much fun on the air in a while. Having been down in Australia, they love Americans, but let me tell you something. You show up in your boots for an event, and you finally find out you're from Texas, they love Texans down there.
How
It
about
is a
that?
state of mind. As
It is.
as the great John Steinbeck said, Texas is very much a state of mind.
Yeah, Rex, you were about to say something?
Oh, well, you were going to ask me earlier about the funeral. Did you want to go that direction? or you
Well,
want us-
Let's talk about
we're
Valor
almost-
Ranch. How do people find out about Valor Ranch? We're running out of time.
The Valor Ranch, I believe it is Valor Ranch it's either .net or maybe .org. Let me see if I can find that for you real quickly.
Yeah, because we're not.
Because Jim's about to go into prayer, but just Google Valor Ranch and you will find more information about
.org.
it.
It's .org.
ValorRanch.org. This is an organization, and give us the 30-second elevator speech on what Valor Ranch does. And I say 30, it's normally 60, but we're talking to Donna.
Okay. Valor Ranch, it was a vision with Carrie and her family. And this is a place for women veterans to come to. They have their own living quarters, their own little tiny house, if you will. They have a garden. They have people there to help them, whatever they need help through, transitioning back into what we call civilization, if you will. And that's what they're all about. And they are always looking for donations, financial or your time. Sometimes it's not all about the money. Sometimes it's about what you can give to these women to help them. Sometimes it is your time, and that's worth more than money. And
That is simply
that is
outstanding.
true.
Jim is going to bring this into the dock, so take it
All right.
away, Jim.
So I'm so thankful, guys, for you being with us. I want to say, Lord God, we thank you for protecting our men and women in uniform around the world. They serve, they protect us. Thank you. And thank you for our first responders and police officers. Thank you, God, also for our veterans and how they continue the mission like Rex and Donna. In your holy name we pray. Thank you today. This is the Veterans Impact Show. And Donna and Rex, thank you so much for being part of our team today. It's a great, great way to do it.
Donna and Rex King, ValorRanch.org, and they are truly living the concept of Charlie Mike. Continue the mission. Thank all of our listeners down in South Texas, and thank you to our friends in California and around the internet globe.
Yeah, and if you're in South Texas, go to the Noble Network. I can't get that out because they got a great event.
Bull Network.
They've got a great event coming up in Gonzales in October. You want to be a part of it. So thank you again. This was the Veterans Impact Show.